Why do we want the best phone? Because we really need it, or are we being manipulated and forced into it? This is not a new situation. It's not about this era. It's not about technology. This is one of the oldest relationship patterns humans have with themselves. It often begins unnoticed, and that's why it's unsettling. Do we ignore it because it makes us uncomfortable? We avoid looking where we need to look. Most people don't stop here. This video is not about the technical specifications of phones. A better camera, processor, speed, that's not the point. That's not what's important. It's not for these features. They are a small part of the story. The real issue is why we are so fixated on the word the best. Do we love ourselves too much? Where is the best? Throughout history, people didn't just want something that worked. They always wanted something better, something more powerful, something newer, something superior. Sometimes it was a tool. Sometimes it was the goal. Sometimes it was clothing. Sometimes it was a symbol. These change, but what we really want is a higher model phone. Today, this symbol is often a phone. The forms changed. The phone took its current form. The desire did not change. Today's desire is the phone. In this video, we are looking at this. Why does a person choose to ignore something they know? Why do they enter the same cycle again and again? And why is the sentence, "This time is different," so convincing? When buying a phone, what are people really buying? The phone, or that void inside themselves they're trying to fill? And why does this purchase often not give the expected feeling? For long, it provides short-term happiness, but it doesn't work in the long run. This problem is not new. Come with me. Throughout history, people told themselves, "I need this. This is temporary. This is under my control." Different periods, different tools, the same sentences. This is not an era problem. This is a structure. In ancient times, having the best sword was important. In some periods, the best car. In some periods, the most expensive watch. In those periods, people said similar things. "I need this. This is different. Mine is outdated." Today, we hear similar sentences. First, the phone seems like just a tool. This usually doesn't start as a problem. It starts like a small choice, like a logical reason. First, it relieves, because it feels like it explains something. But actually, it closes something. It works, connects, it makes life easier. But then, turns into a need. You become unable to be without it. It becomes a small thing. These start appearing before us on the phone. A comparison, an advertisement, someone else's better phone, and a strange feeling emerges. Its name is usually not spoken. After a while, the same outcomes repeat. The same relationships, the same disappointments, the same inner restlessness. But the explanation changes. The timing was wrong. The conditions weren't right. This is actually who I am. That's why it's confusing, because the mind seems to be working, but life isn't changing. At some point, the old phone starts to feel inadequate. It stops giving happiness. But is it really inadequate, or has the feeling changed and been projected onto an object? Most people don't ask this question to themselves out loud, because the answer may not be comforting, and it might not bring that initial happiness. The new phone is bought. Happiness comes. The box is opened. The screen shines. Everything is fast. For a moment, it feels like all the puzzle pieces start falling into place. Then the happiness goes. Slowly, that feeling from before buying the new phone returns. This is where it gets confusing. We may not understand what happened. This is usually not a matter of technology. That is just an object. It's more about the relationship a person has with themselves. The phone, having the best, gives the person a short-term sense of stability. You think it's stable. Here, there is a decision point. It's usually silent. No one notices. Either you look, or you give another name to what you already know. Most people choose the second, because the first requires letting go of some things. But this stability is not permanent. What works here is this: when a person encounters an unbearable emotion, instead of looking at it, they choose to explain it. Explanation gives a temporary sense of control, but the feeling remains. That's why the same explanation is needed again and again. That's why the mind gets confused. That's why a strange cycle begins. A new model phone comes out. The old model phone becomes outdated. But becoming outdated doesn't come from the phone. It comes from the feeling that arises inside the person. When people notice this, they say, "So I need a better one." This sentence is very familiar. History has shown us this countless times. This is not just about phones. In different periods, the same mechanism worked. People saw the danger but changed its name. They saw the crack but turned its direction. Because seeing comes at a cost. Not wanting to see. This is a person trying to complete themselves with an object. Periods change. Tools change. Goals change. People say, "This is how I am. I can't change. This is my reality." But often, this is not a reality. This is a sentence placed over an unexamined place. But the mechanism mechanism remains the same. This doesn't just happen in relationships or at work. This is how a person protects themselves. If something repeats and the explanations constantly change, something is not being seen. That's why this feeling is familiar. First, happiness. Then suddenly happiness recedes. And unhappiness, the need to buy a new one. The real question is this: when this desire arises, what deficiency is being felt in me? Perhaps the real question is not, why am I like this? Maybe the question is, which feeling was too early, too difficult, or too quiet for me? And which sentence did I choose to avoid looking at it? And when the next model comes out, will this question emerge again? Most people don't stop at this point, but once noticed, this mechanism becomes harder to ignore. And perhaps what is unsettling is this: